Okay, there, it's focusing now. All right, I'm going to call this, going to continue with my Sunday stitch tutorials. So I just did a slip knot. Actually, I should show you that. How I do my slip knot is I lay it over, I cross, and then I pull through. I kind of pinch it there, pull through, and then pull it down tight. That's how I do a slip knot. There are about 100 ways to do a slip knot. That is how I do it. Do whatever works for you. I'm going to teach the cobblestone stitch, which I did not know until Camille's Creations did a blanket with, no, a hat? I can't remember what she made with this stitch. I think it was a hat. And I think it was an armchair chef recommendation. Anyway, but it was on her channel. So it's the cobblestone stitch, and it's a single, then a triple, and a single and a triple. So that's one way to do it. The other way I've seen is to go ahead and do a single crochet row and then do your cobblestone stitch and then do single crochet and then cobblestone. I like there's two versions, okay? There's two versions. One is called, let me look at this. According to, what are they? Rafa Musa Designs. They say there's the classic cobblestone, which I'm going to show you, and then there's the offset cobblestone, which I'll also show you. So, well, I'll actually just talk about the offset, because that might be Raf Musa Designs specific. I will link this below. So instead of doing a chain and then going through, we want to do this as a foundation. I wanted to show you all that you can do any stitch that doesn't have a skipped stitch as a foundation without having to do a big long chain and then go from there. I was very disappointed the blanket stitch wouldn't work for this because it has skipped stitches. I love the blanket stitch. Okay, still haven't used it though. So we want to start with a single crochet. So all I did was a chain, and then when we're going to do a foundation, so I go back into that chain and I draw this up, and then I yarn over and pull through the one. That creates the next chain. It's right down here. There's the chain. And then yarn over, pull through two. That's a single. Now, these are US terms. And then to do a treble or triple, you yarn over twice. You go in that chain that we made. We want just the 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through the first one. That creates our chain. I'm going to pinch that chain so I don't tighten it down too much, so it's easier to get into for the next one. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Sorry, got some yarn coming in here. I'm using a 6mm hook, and this is only a DK weight yarn, a 3 weight yarn. So I'm going a much bigger hook just because it makes it easier to see what's going on here. You might find that it's easier if you're going to do a foundation row to go up a hook size from what you're going to use for the rest of your project, just for your foundation row. So it makes this stitch easier to get into because you need to be able to get into that chain you made. Okay, so with the cobblestone, it's a single and then a triple and then a single. So no yarn overs, go into that. Underneath those 2, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1. That creates the chain. Pinch it, yarn over, pull through both. Again, that's US terms. In UK terms, that would be a double, and in UK terms, what we're calling a triple or treble would be a double treble. Okay, which always makes me think of double treble, so that's like when Camille and I get together. We're double treble. Anyway, so we're going to yarn over twice because it's single, triple, single, triple. So yarn over twice, go into that stitch. Like I said, if I don't pinch it well, and see I'm in between there, those are the 2 that are making the chain, and then you can see that would technically be normally our back bump. So we're going to yarn over, pull through underneath there. Now we have 4 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Sorry, yarn over, pull through 1, make our chain. What did I do there? Okay, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so we're going to keep doing that. We go under. This time we don't yarn over because we're just going to do a US single. Yarn over, pull through 1, pinch that stitch, yarn over, pull through 2. Then yarn over twice. Go underneath those 2 loops, yarn over, pull through. You've got 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 1 to make the chain. And then yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so this doesn't look like much right now. You can tell it's a kind of nice pattern, or stitch pattern, but it's not particularly special, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and pause it. I'm going to get, well, I'll do one more set just so we can really see how this works with the foundation. So we're doing single neck, so just under those 2 loops. Like I said, right there, that one is the back loop. This is creating our chain. Yarn over, pull through 1, that creates the chain. Yarn over, pull through 2. Okay. Yarn over twice, go underneath the 2, yarn over, pull through 1. That's the biggest thing that would be different than all the other rows. This is when you're doing that foundation, is the only time you have to pull through the 1. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so I'm going to tell you my theory on why US calls it a single and why UK calls it a double. Here's my theory. I'm going to just do it so you can see why my thinking is my thinking. Okay, we're going to go through, yarn over, pull through 1. I think the reason the UK calls it a double crochet is because there are 2 loops on the hook. Let me pull through the 1 to get that chain. Okay, so we're pretending like this is a regular situation. My theory is they call it a double crochet because it's pulling through 2 loops. That's very logical. And my theory on why US calls it a single crochet is because you just pull through both of them once. You're just pulling through once. So let's talk about it with the treble. This is my theory. I have no idea if this is factual. This is my logic. It's my math reasoning. It's why I think both make sense. I think both ways make sense. And so you just got to go with whatever. Oops, I only yarn over once. I need to yarn over twice. Okay. So again, I'm going to yarn over and pull through 1. Okay, so look at this. I have 4 loops on the hook. So that would be like a double treble is what they would call it, because that would mean 4 loops. But US terms, I'm going to yarn over, pull through once, yarn over, pull through twice, yarn over, pull through 3 times. I believe that is why we call that a triple. Again, I have no verifiable source. This is my own hypothesis. It's probably been said a million times. I don't know, but that's what I think. All right, I'm going to do probably 1 or 2 more pairs off camera for a sec, and I'm going to show you what makes the cobblestone really interesting. Is the next row. You can already see how it puffs up because you've got a single and a treble. It makes a very nice, I'll zoom in on that. Oh, you can hardly see that. Let me put it up against my hand. Well, you'll see it when we get to the next row. I think that will make more sense. All right, I'm going to pause it. Come back in a sec. Okay, turns out I don't know how to operate my computer, and I pushed stop and start again instead of just unpause. Anyway, you can see I didn't go very far, but I wanted to, and I started with a single US and I end with a single US. Now, this is not, what I'm going to be showing you is not a traditional cobblestone, but it is the stitch pattern that Camille used, and I want to say it was back in March, maybe. It might have even been February. So it's like a cobblestone, but the cobblestone stitches that I've been coming across all have a single crochet row in between them. We're not going to do that. We're going to do what she did in that pattern, whatever she was working on, which I don't remember. So I chained 1 and I'm going to turn. If you don't like to chain 1 for your single, don't. Because again, this isn't even a traditional, I'm trying to get through that stitch. All right. Yarn over, pull up a loop. We're going to put a single on top of our singles, and we're going to put a treble on top of our trebles. Am I in the stitch? Where am I at? There's the treble. Is that the treble stitch? Something seems wrong here. Hold on. Let me try this again. I'll finish that row, but again, I started with a single, so I need to end with a single US terms. Okay, yeah, that looks much better. Okay, so here's my single. So you don't have to do a chain, do whatever. And we're going to do a single on top of that single, and we're going to do a treble on top of that treble, and you're going to see why. Because what that does is creates a ton of texture. And then in the next stitch, a single, and then a treble. And then a single, and then a treble, or triple. Treble sounds cooler, so again, it's a double treble in the UK, which will forever make me think double treble. I can't help it. And then a single. I want you to see what's happening. Now, this is a bit of a yarn eater, as we've established most stitches are, that aren't just basic. So we're going single, triple, single, triple, single, triple. Did I do a triple there? Yeah. Do a single there. And my tension is super loose, so it's not showing as much, but look at that. You get like puff stitches without doing puff stitches or doing popcorn. So this is going to use a lot less yarn, even though it's a bit of a yarn eater, because we're not growing a lot in height. It creates this texture without like eating as much yarn as a puff or a popcorn stitch would. Yeah, we're doing treble. So I just wanted you to see this stitch because it's so cool, but I wanted to reinforce that as long as your stitch pattern does not have skipped stitches in its base row or whatever, like the blanket stitch has skip stitches, I can't show that this way, you can go straight to the stitch. And that was a treble, so there's a single. And I just love the way this looks. Like I said, what I was just reading, this is not the traditional cobblestone, but this is definitely the stitch pattern that Camille was using. I'm not saying it was her stitch. You can push them out all the same way. We can have it look the same on both sides. Triple. All right. Caught on my little yarn thingy. All right, and the last stitch is a single. Again, if you start with a single, you end with a single with this pattern. Let me push these back. So this is, if I push them back this way, then what happens is we get the texture on both sides. I'll just keep doing that down here. Okay, so now I have the texture here and the texture here. But you saw all I had to do was kind of push that treble whichever way I wanted the texture to show. If I want it to look like really big bubbles, then I push them this way to get the effect I want. But if I push it the other way, then you get the appearance of this, and you can see why it's called the cobblestone stitch, right? They look like little cobblestones. But it's single, triple, single, triple, single, triple US terms. If you start with a single, end with a single, which is what I recommend, and then you can just stack a single on a single and then treble on a treble to get this. Now, again, this is not a true traditional cobblestone because I did not do a single crochet row between. I feel like you get a lot more texture this way. And again, you can make it so both sides look about the same if you just push those trebles back to the other side. Then they come out that side. And then you have that texture on both sides. Really, whichever way you like the way it looks. So, there you go. That's the, we're going to call that the modified, or what I call the Camille cobblestone. Again, it wasn't her stitch. It was in a pattern, but I can't for the life of me remember what pattern it was. But I wanted to show a different stitch as a foundation. No skip stitches. So I can just I can pretty much do whatever I need to do without having to do a big long chain. I love it. It's my favorite. Okay, sorry, went out of focus there. Oh, there we go. And that's for my October breast cancer awareness fingernails. They're looking good after the live. Anyway, as always, I appreciate you all. Thanks for coming in. And can I get an amen?